that feeling like the guy just wants you to do something different, or you're supposed to go in a different direction, or stop doing something, or, you know, just that inner feeling from God, but you just ignore it because it just sounds terrible, and you don't want to do it because life is good. I had that feeling, and I ignored it for quite a while. Up until about a year ago, I had been building up a YouTube channel. Obviously not this one. This one at the time of shooting this has under 100 subscribers. So I had been building up a YouTube channel. It was called Navigate Off-Road. It was based on ATVs. I'd spent years working on this thing, just trying to figure it out, learn the process and all that. And over the course of years, I had finally reached a point where it was becoming successful, right? Like people were starting to watch the channel at a good amount. I was getting thousands and thousands of subscribers. I was getting companies to have me come out and stay with them for free and ride their machines, to review them and all this stuff. And it just finally felt like all these years of hard work was finally paying off. And I had this whole career planned out on like how this was gonna turn into a full-time job when I retired from the Army. But then sure enough, at one point, I felt like God kind of just dropped this thought into my head, and I pushed it away. I was like, I don't really wanna do that. Like it kept coming up, and I like kept pushing it away. And then finally, I'm driving to Virginia, and this thought just keeps like creeping back into my head, and I'm starting to think about it more and more. And finally, I gave in. So I took what was becoming this amazing thing that I was really becoming proud of, that I put so much time into, and I basically dropped it almost overnight. And then since I've started this channel, God has continued to speak with me and take me down another road that I really never thought I would go, and put me in school for biblical studies. So here we are, it's Saturday morning at this point, and I have all this homework to do in a degree that like a year ago, I never, ever would have gone back to school for, right? Like that was not in my game plan at all. All right, it is after 3 o'clock at this point. Done with homework for now. I gotta chop some wood because, you know,
winter is coming.
I don't even watch that stupid show. It's just such a popular saying at this point. But why am I telling you this story? Right? Why did I tell you the story about listening to God? And because it's hard, right? Like, and we all know, like I could just say, oh, you should listen to God when he speaks to you. Well, like, obviously, right? Like we've all heard that. If you're a Christian, you've heard that, you know that. But that doesn't make it easy. But I think we actually do hear it more than we like to admit. The problem is we don't like what he says, right? And it's our life, right? So we're like I'm not doing that, right? Like I'm not giving up this thing I've worked on for years that's finally paying off because you want me to go do something else. Like, what is that? I think the issue we run into is not only is it a sin to ignore God, but we also think that we're winning a lot of times by ignoring. We're like, nah, like things are going really good for me over here. I'm kind of a winner at life or whatever it is I got going on, and I don't want to change that, right? But the problem is we're actually losing, and we're losing really bad. I can see you staring at me through the trees, boy. My son's like creeping on me over here. But in reality, when we ignore God and we do what we want, we're not actually winning. We might win in the short term for a few days or a few months or whatever and feel good about it, but in the end, we're just losing, right? We're never gonna be as happy that way. All right, I gotta cut some wood.
Fresh kicks and my favorite jeans, stepping out, living loud and free, walk around like a brand new melody, hear me when I'm singing that, oh, and it keeps getting better. It only gets better.
Done. I actually wanted to do more, but I ran out of gas, and it's gonna be coming up on 4:30, and by the time I run to town and get fuel, it's just not worth it. So today we cut, tomorrow we chop. Making bacon and pancakes for dinner tonight. The wife's working, so guys' night, which means me and the boys are making some pancakes and bacon, because who doesn't love that? And we're watching a movie. That last clip with the pancakes, that was actually supposed to be a lot longer, but in the mix of things, it turned out terrible. It didn't work out. So did the pancakes and sausage. They were okay. They're not as good as my wife made them, but they were all right. And then we watched a movie, so it was some good father-sons time, if you will. But here I am again, right? So like done with that, we spent some time together. It's nighttime at this point, and I'm back down in my office doing homework again. And you know, and like I said, I spend a lot of my weeknights and my weekends just like hammering out homework and studying and all that stuff. And on top of that, I'm trying to balance a full-time job, and the family and YouTube channel, and I fail at all of that like pretty consistently. That balance, like it's actually amazing when I look back at how like consistently I can fail week after week at properly balancing all that stuff out. So I guess I have success in that failure anyway. But it's where God's led me, right? So like, does it suck sometimes? Like, yeah, I mean it does, to be honest. But like, am I glad that I am where I am now? Yeah, absolutely. So here's the deal: when God comes speaking to you and you start to have that internal debate, right? Like, should I do it? I don't want to do it, like that whole thing. And then you're like, I don't want to do it, because either it's just easier not to do it, or your life is amazing where it's at. Or let's be honest, sometimes we just get comfortable where we're at. Even if it's not that great, we just get comfortable and it's the same old thing, and we can kind of find comfort in that, right? So you end up in that debate. But here's two truth bombs for you. First of all, it's not really your life anyway, right? And if you're Christian, you probably already know that, and if you're somewhere in between or you're not at all, you probably haven't realized that yet, but it's not really your life anyway. Now, thankfully, you have free will, so you can make those choices, but ultimately it's God life. And then the second thing is, when you have those arguments, it might feel like you're winning to go against God, but in the long run, like instead of fighting against God and going with and following along and working with and for Him, your life is gonna be better in the long run. And it took me a long time to figure that out, right? I was arguing and fighting against Him and just kind of trying to ignore it and push it aside. And, I had this whole, like I mentioned, this whole career plan. Like, I knew where I planned to be in 20, 30 years, whatever it was. And I put all that aside, and I have no idea now. Like, for the first time in as many years as I can remember, I have no idea what the future holds. But the crazy thing is, here's the crazy thing. I'm actually, and even once I started to follow where I thought God wanted me to go, it took me a while to realize this. And I had to, like, release control to God, right? Like, I had to, like, truly, and as Christians say this all the time, like, I just put my faith in God, but they don't really mean it, right? Like, I used to say that, and I'll just put my faith in God, like, that's super easy to do, and I didn't really mean it, but finally, I reached a point, it actually wasn't even that long ago, where I was able to just, like, basically surrender control over to God, and truly just have that, like, inner peace of, like, I'm trusting you, God, I'm putting my faith in you, and so now, for the first time in a while, or even when I knew what I was doing, I'm in like this super, like, I'm comfortable place with it, right? I have this peace about it, and I feel that God will truly lead me and put me where I need to be. So when you find yourself in that position where you're arguing with God and you think He wants you to go down a different path, I urge you to, like, stop and take some time and think about if that's really coming from God. And if it is, have faith that God knows where He wants you to be. So click this over here to watch some other videos on this channel, and don't forget to read your Bible. I gotta go do more homework. Thanks for watching.